What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I'm super excited. We've been alternating channels doing these film breakdowns. We're going to be doing a lot more as the draft gets a lot closer. Obviously, this kind of the slow season right now, so we're going over some of the premier prospects that the New York Giants may be looking at in the first round. We'll dive into some deeper, third round, fourth round, fifth round potential prospects as the process continues, but had you guys vote on Twitter which guy you guys would like to take the look at next. I gave you guys four defensive possibilities, and you guys ended up choosing Micah Parsons. Very, very intriguing prospect out of Penn State, who may be dropping down draft charts. We're going to jump into that as well before we jump into the film. But we'll start with Alex, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is always one of my favorite things to do. And we've broken down some really awesome players, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. And now we're diving into the defensive side of the ball with Micah Parsons. And Micah Parsons is a player that transforms your defense, and obviously we're going to talk about the allegations and stuff like that that have risen up. But I'm really excited to dive into Micah Parsons. He's a transformative athlete that you can build a defense around. And you're going to see in the film that he does things that you don't see normal linebackers do. Maybe you'll never see a linebacker do this in your life. The way he sheds blocks, the way he gets after the quarterback, the ability and the versatility he has as a pass rusher, which makes him such an awesome athlete and player. So I'm really excited to take a look. And Chris, as always, thank you so much for having us on your channel. And I'm always just honored to be able to, do these awesome film breakdowns with you.
No, and I should say that at the top of the video. Fireside Giants. It's going to be in the link in the description. If you guys have not done so, please subscribe. They're doing a great job. They definitely up their thumbnail game. I love it. I had a good laugh of your video yesterday. You guys doing a great job over there. But Anthony, what's going on, my man?
Not much, man. I'm chilling. I'm having a good time. I'm ready to break down some Micah Parsons film. I was talking to Alex the other day about Micah Parsons. We did a video where we discussed him, and I was saying how I think that he is really just an amazing linebacker prospect. Like, I know that there's accusations, and I know that we're going to get into it and discuss them, but really when you look at him on the field, it doesn't get much better than that. You look back last year to Isaiah Simmons, and then you look at Micah Parsons. Isaiah Simmons was such a amazing prospect, right? Because he was so versatile and he was basically a safety at linebacker. Well, I wouldn't say that Micah Parsons is the same way. I'd say he's more like, I don't know, he's just more of a wrecking ball. He just does everything. He's like a pure linebacker. Isaiah Simmons was like the new wave of linebacker, right? Like that new hybrid kind of guy. Micah Parsons is like a pure, incredible linebacker who can just make plays in the running game and a surprising amount of like excellent pass rush moves. He really is productive as a pass rusher as well. So he's a really exciting prospect. I think that when we take a look at him, everyone will agree that he would be a perfect fit in Patrick Graham's scheme. And of course, that's barring the red flags that we have to talk about, right? So I'll let you start off with that, Chris.
Yeah, the other thing I want to point out about him, and well, I agree, he's not Simmons. He is incredibly versatile, and that's been the book on him. A lot of people feel like he may be better suited to be an edge rusher in the NFL. That's how good he is off the edge, but he is a very good linebacker as well. He's obviously bigger in stature than Isaiah Simmons, but yeah, definitely a very exciting prospect that I think would fit the Patrick Graham scheme perfectly. Mainly because of his versatility, and I think he'd be better in coverage than a guy like Martinez. But, yeah, obviously we got to talk about the allegations, and if you have not heard, which I think I don't know if everybody has, it really hasn't been much of a national story, which kind of surprises me, and it's why I haven't reported on it, because I don't want to make a video on something that I'm not 100% sure of that is so damaging to his character, but it's something you got to talk about when you're doing a breakdown video of him. There's been allegations basically that, I'm not going to get into the gory details, but that he was involved in, hazing, to a much stronger extent than a typical hazing. When you go away to a college program along with Yetur Gross-Matos and a couple of other members of Penn State, and if that's the case, you would think that would be a huge red flag that could potentially drop him out of the first round. I've even read reports that have said some teams have taken them off their draft board for the first round. I don't remember what teams it was. It wasn't the Giants, but it's allegations right now. You don't know how much truth there is to this until it, officially comes out. But his name has been mentioned with some of those. But we'll go to Alex.
Yeah, I mean, whatever those allegations, we know from the DeAndre Baker situations and stuff in the past, John Brown, like in the kicker and, his abusive relationship with his wife and stuff like that. We don't want any part in those allegations anymore. This is a culture and a team that's trying to go in a different direction. So I'm kind of looking at him as like, okay, I want to see more facts. I want to see more evidence. I want to see what's actually happening. Because with DeAndre Baker, he was exonerated of all these issues, and then we were out as a cornerback, so that's a major issue there. And, giving it time, I don't know what to really think of them at this point, but what I do know is that someone is going to draft a player like him in the first round. Somebody is going to draft Micah Parsons. If it's going to be a team, I'm not saying I'm forgiving him for any of these allegations because obviously they were disgusting. I'm not, exonerating him at all. But if there's going to be a team to discipline him and keep him in shape, it's the Giants and their new culture. It's Joe Judge to keep him under wraps, keep him disciplined, and really put him in a place where he can succeed, and actually maximize his potential and not ruin his career over immaturity. He needs good stability, and having veterans like Leonard Williams, Logan Ryan, those guys, Blake Martinez around him, those are the guys that keep him in check. Those are the guys that are going to make him the best football player, hopefully one of the best linebackers the league's ever seen. So if there's a place for him to land, maybe the Giants is a good place for him, just because of the culture and the shift and everything. And some, like I said, some team is going to take him, and he's going to end up either failing because of his immaturity and those red flags, or he's going to end up flying. I don't think this is a matter of the people he hangs out with. I think this is more of a thing of, just an awful situation that he was in with the Penn State and the culture in the locker room. But I know Anthony has more to talk about on that as well.
Yeah, my take on this is, well, I'll say, the accusations are gross, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Clearly, he had some involvement in this hazing that was going on in the Penn State locker room. I don't know. I wasn't there, obviously. Don't know what extent he played in hazing these freshmen and everything. But, he definitely did some things that he shouldn't have, right? And my take on this really is that while it's gross and it's wrong, and Micah Parsons should not have been involved with that, if he was a true leader, he would have stood up and rebelled against it and not allowed the culture to continue. It is a culture that he entered, and it was the culture within the locker room. And it's not like he ran the culture in the locker room. It's not like he created the culture. The coaches create the culture. If the coaches are allowing this to happen, that's the main heart of the problem for Penn State University. That's where it really comes into play. People are going to point at Micah Parsons because he's the next big Penn State University first-round talent coming out, so they're going to point it as a red flag to him. But this has probably been going on since Saquon Barkley was there. This has probably been going on for years. This is a cultural problem that is only now being revealed to the public. This is something that the coaching staff and that Penn State's entire football program probably knew was going on and didn't do anything about it. And Micah Parsons shouldn't have gotten involved with it, but he did. And that's the problem. I don't think that he would step into an NFL locker room and change their culture to be one of hazing and abuse towards rookies. And, he's going to be a rookie. He's going to step in. He's probably going to have to do some chores for some of the veterans, like that kind of stuff. But obviously that's not what they were doing at Penn State. They took it way too far and everything like that. And when I look at Micah Parsons, I do think that this is a red flag. I think it might say something about leadership, but not necessarily about ugliness of character. Like I said, I think that it was just part of being in a bad culture, and he's going to step into the NFL. Alex mentioned the Giants culture. That would not fly in the Giants locker room. That would not fly in probably 28 of the 32 teams locker room.
Probably fly in any. That's like prison-like behavior. What he's being accused
it shouldn't. It shouldn't apply in any of them. Only places I can think of is maybe it would apply in Philadelphia, right? It shouldn't, but it might.
Maybe Dallas.
Maybe Dallas, right? So he's going to get to the NFL. He's going to enter a new locker room. It's not going to fly there. He's not going to do those things. I don't think that NFL teams are really going to look at it as like he's going to create problems, more as he had a problem, and we need to make sure that he's not like expecting this to continue, right? Like it's more of a leadership thing to me. He should have said no. He should have stood up against us, and he didn't if he's going to be a leader at the next level. But I don't think that it's something that he's going to continue to do in the NFL, if that's what people are thinking.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I definitely get your perspective. My opinion on the situation is, if this is true, which, like you said, if there's smoke, there's fire. It may not be as bad as it's being made out to be, though. That's why I'm waiting till all the facts come out. And maybe because he's such a big name and because he's a first-round prospect, he's being implicated in it because they're trying to draw more attention to the situation, and they're making it, seem like he's more of a factor in the situation than he really is. And I'm waiting till hopefully all the facts come out. But what I'll say is, after what happened with DeAndre Baker, and the pre-red flags and the Giants taking him, and all the New York Giants fans got on Gettleman for doing that after it all came out, even before this, I can't see Gettleman, who's preached culture time and time again, and Joe Judge, who's preached culture time and time again, in my personal opinion, if these are true, spending the 11th overall pick on Micah Parsons. That's my opinion on the matter. If he is exonerated, none of it's true, it's fabricated, I'm all aboard. This guy's a tremendous talent. I would be surprised if there is some truth to these allegations if he's a New York Giant.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It really is just the exoneration aspect of it. Like, I don't really have an opinion until we know all the facts. And I think, we can only wait and see. And just to be clear, these NFL teams know 100 times more than we do about the background of the situation. They have private investigators. They're talking to the team. They know what's going on. If he goes in the top 10, we know it's probably not true, or they didn't have enough evidence to prove that it was true. It was only one person, I think, that came out and said something. Do we take the opinion of one person? I have no idea. This is for the teams to figure out. Obviously not for us. We don't have enough information, but that doesn't defeat the fact that he is an unbelievable talent, and I'm really excited to check out the film.
I can't wait. Something that we needed to talk about, though. But let's jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen. It's my first time doing this, so bear with me, guys, watching the video. It's going to take a couple of seconds, and then we're going to jump right into it. I'm excited to watch the prospect. I was watching the film ahead of time. I think if we were to draft this kid, he would fit the scheme perfectly. Now, the only way you're taking a linebacker more than likely is if all three wide receivers are off the board. But now, there we go. I was going to say, of course it worked the first time, and now that we're doing it. But no, we're back at it. So what you're going to see in these clips, guys, and we were talking about it before we did it, they use Micah Parsons all over the field. They use him in the middle. They use him off the edge. You're going to see him used as a blitzer. You're going to see him used in diagnosing the run, shading blockers. That may be the most impressive thing with him. But here's the first play here. We're going to let this run a couple of times. In this clip, I think he's right behind the field goal post right here, if I'm not mistaken. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to see him here just blow this play up in the backfield. We're going to shed that blocker, and goes in for the sack right there. Obviously flushes the quarterback out of the pocket. And there's a design blitz. This is something that you saw the Giants do a lot this year. You saw them use Martinez a lot in this capacity. I think he had 3 or 4 sacks. And yeah, I mean, here you're just seeing one of the many ways that the New York Giants could use Micah Parsons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Micah Parsons is head and shoulders a better pass rusher than Blake Martinez. And Blake Martinez still finished with 3 or 4 sacks, like you said. Micah Parsons entered college as a pass rusher. That was his job. They transitioned him to linebacker, and they project that he will actually be a stacked outside linebacker to start his NFL career. And that's the versatility, like you mentioned before, Chris. Having a player that's multiple is exactly what Patrick Graham wants. Because think about this reality. In 2020, they lost Lorenzo Carter. They lost Oshane Ximines. They're using Carter Coughlin and Jabal Shared. If you have a guy like Micah Parsons on your team, you can ask him, go play outside linebacker and then have Blake Martinez and Tate Crowder back there. Micah Parsons can go and he will succeed really well. I mean, just look at these pass rush moves. I mean, he's doing this against offensive linemen. One-on-one offensive linemen. He's so quick, so agile, and he has some of the strongest hands when it comes to ripping and just swatting these hands away that they're trying to get into his chest plate. He is so good at anticipating moves and so agile and athletic. That's the major point here. His athleticism is better than any linebacker I've seen in a long time. He is as close to generational as you can get. He's lacking that one trait of just being a dominant pass coverage linebacker, but that's not his goal. That's not his role. He is a premium run stopping, pass rushing linebacker. And I think, in the NFL, he's going to make an unbelievable transition for a team that picks him. And look what he does to their left guard here. He swims him, he fakes him, he shimmies one way, yeah. He gets him to bite, and he's gone by the time the guy even realizes, he's going the other direction. It's just unbelievable footwork, unbelievable athleticism and speed, and his hands are so strong. This is a guy he's a pass rusher playing linebacker. You can't really do much against him in these scenarios.
Yeah, that to me is the most impressive thing. And then we're going to turn over to Anthony. But like you were saying, that's what after watching the clip a couple of times, that's what I see. It's like a linebacker with edge rusher moves. Like you see him he gets the guard, like you said, to kind of lean one way because he moves that way, and then he comes back with the double move to get after the quarterback. But yeah, really good move there by him.
Yeah, like you guys just mentioned, he really is a pass rusher from the linebacker position. I said that before we got into this. He really is a pass rusher. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr played edge rusher in college and then transitioned to linebacker in the NFL. Micah Parsons kind of had a similar, career trajectory. He came into college as an edge and then moved to linebacker. And now they're saying that maybe he'll move to edge in the NFL, right? I don't think he will. I think he'll stay at linebacker, but I think that him being as good of a pass rusher from the off-ball linebacker position as he is a true X factor, and it's what separates him from the rest of this draft class. He's a guy that, like we mentioned, is going to be able to line up off ball at the edge. You can just move him all over the place, and he's going to make plays in both facets of the game. And you guys saw it there. That was a great pass rush move. That was very much an edge rusher's pass rush move. That wasn't really a linebacker just running through and pushing through somebody for a sack. He put a legitimate pass rush move on him, and it worked.
Yeah.
And he treated that left guard like a turnstile, and he got to the quarterback. And you see him do that often. And we're going to see it probably again in this game film. He's really just a phenomenal pass rusher from his position.
Yeah, here he is again, lined up in the middle, on the right side if you're viewing it, left side from his, vantage point. But going up against Maryland, and let's see what he does in this clip. Look at him diagnosing the run. Let me rewind that. I got to get better at this, guys. I'm trying. But look at him diagnosing the run here as 72 tries to get down to the second level, and it's almost the same move. Obviously, here he's not blitzing. He's trying to pick up the run. He's watching the run. He's got this big elephant coming at him, and he goes right, uses athleticism to go right around him, and he blows up the play. It's a great play.
Yeah, and I want to point one thing out. He has one thing that a lot of players simply you just can't teach, and that is reaction timing. He is so aware of what's happening around him. And if you go back to the beginning of this clip, you can see him basically, this guard is pulling, he's watching the quarterback because this is supposed to be a read. Like this could be a read option for him, the quarterback. And look at his laser focus on that football. He is staring him down, and he knows number 72 is coming toward him because he's just that aware of what's happening in this play. And if you continue to go, like you can see him, he sees him hand this ball off, and that guard there has no chance. And it's really, really awesome to see how fast he is and how athletic he is. And he immediately disengages. He sheds that block. He uses his hands to swipe away. Again, the hand movement, the hand swiping, such strong hands to get a guy that big in front of him just to basically have no chance. And he just whips around him easily, fills that gap. He is one of the most elite run-stopping linebackers I've seen in a very long time. This kind of stuff is not easy. It is not easy, and he does it routinely. So that's the whole point, is like, this is not just like every other game he has one of these plays. It's every freaking play, which is why he's such a highly rated prospect.
Yeah, great play here. Just a great play.
Yeah, one thing you said, Alex, is he sheds this block easily. That's not even what he does, dude. The right tackle didn't get his hands on Micah Parsons.
Exactly.
He didn't even touch him. Like the lateral
he skates it. He skates the ball.
Yeah. The lateral quickness here is just like insane from a linebacker. To see a guy move like that laterally, just to sidestep an offensive lineman who's coming down with a full head of steam, like just to move like that is just rare. And
his eyes,
like Alex mentioned, his eyes. That's the next thing I was going to get into. He was laser focused on the football. He has a trained eye. He doesn't overcommit. That's a huge thing for linebacker prospects coming out of college, is overcommitting, especially on these read options, either to the running back or to the quarterback. He doesn't overcommit. He stays patient, waits to see where the ball is going, and then he makes his move and he attacks. He slides around that tackle and he attacks, and he puts together a good tackle. And it's just another dominant rep. And there's like Alex mentioned, there's a lot of these reps that show up on the tape. It's not just few and far between. It's very frequently that he makes plays like this.
And if he doesn't make that move,
exactly,
this is a 10 or 15 yard play.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Look at how much space is to the right of Parsons. If he doesn't make that move, like you said, Chris, he's gone. And that's the most impressive part, is that when you have a guy of that magnitude, you don't need other people to fill those gaps. He can fill two gaps at once, just with that elite athleticism, which allows you to put more guys in coverage, blitz more guys. You can do so many different diverse things, and Patrick Graham would have a field day with a player like that.
Yeah, because what this guard is trying to do, as you see him approaching here from the right side, he's trying to push Parsons to the left, and they want to open up a big hole down the right side, but by Parsons skating around it, he fills up that hole. If he doesn't fill up that hole, there's no help there. Look, you see the safety there, or corner, whatever that was on the top of the screen. He kind of fades out. He's kind of dropping back for a potential pass here. Number 17 up top. Look at this hole if he doesn't do that. I mean, that's a big game. Great play. Let's jump into the next one, guys. Parsons here on the right side. Again, from the inside, you're going to see some of him from the edge. Going up against Michigan. Big Ten rivalry here. And again, another great job of shedding the fullback here in the I formation. Again, just showing the strength. This is more so just brute strength. The last two plays you saw patience. This one, he's just blowing this play up in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have a fullback leading here. That fullback, his main job is to clear out people in front of him, just lay people out. That is his primary job. And again, like I wanted to show, and put together some clips that weren't just all flashy plays. I wanted to show the difficult plays where he has to beat a fullback in the gap. And this is what he does. He lowers his shoulder into him. And from right here, this is actually a perfect place. Right there is a perfect place to pause it, just because you see how he doesn't look like he has an advantage. That running back should be able to cut left and really hit that B gap right there. But Parsons is so strong and has such a good lower body strength and upper body strength. He shrugs off a fullback like it's nothing. I mean, right there, look right here. The running back, all he has to do is wait. Right there is the perfect view. Right here, that fullback should seal that gap, but because Parsons is so strong, he puts him on his knees. This is the type of stuff that you see on like a regular play, and you're like, that translates to the NFL. That kind of stuff translates.
Yeah, and that's what makes him such a special linebacker prospect. You get the best of both worlds. You get a guy that could go in there, blow up a fullback on a play like this, and then you also get the guy with the athleticism that could skate away from a big guard on the previous play, or you saw the pass rushing moves on the first play. He's got it all. I mean, he's the complete package in terms of being a modern day linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll say a couple of things about this play. I'll give my analysis of it. One thing, that's not just pure strength when he blows up that fullback. That's like technically perfect what he did there, where he lowers his shoulder. That like technique wise was perfect, and that's when it becomes translatable, as Alex said. Another thing that I'll say is if you back this up like all the way to the start, one thing that we'll notice here is this is very much Penn State is playing a 4-3 defense. He's playing the 4-3 outside linebacker. Now, one thing that I think about Micah Parsons is his ideal role probably is the role that he'll strive in the most in the NFL is probably as a 4-3 outside linebacker. But one thing that I'll say about that, the Giants obviously run a 3-4. They're very multiple, so he'll be playing 4-3 outside linebacker at times if the Giants do draft him. I think, though, that his best role with whichever team drafts him will be as a 4-3 outside linebacker. But one thing with being a 3-4 linebacker, an off-ball linebacker in the 3-4, is it gives you a lot of autonomy to blitz. And that's maybe where you're talking about maybe his best role in a defined role is as a 4-3 outside linebacker, but maybe the one where you're maximizing his talents and letting him grow is in that 3-4 as an off-ball linebacker, giving him the autonomy to move around, line up on the edge, then line up on the inside and blitz from all over the place and keep defenses guessing. Because in the 4-3, when he's playing that outside linebacker role, it's probably not very often that they put him at edge rusher because then he'd have to put his hand in the dirt and play more of a defensive end role. So probably 3-4 is where you're going to see teams maximize Micah Parsons' talent. So that's why I do think, like, when we talk about him fitting into Patrick Graham's scheme, this is a play where you see he's definitely got the ability to fit into multiple schemes. But when you really start to think about it, because of his blitzing ability, the 3-4 scheme might be perfect for him, and Patrick Graham's scheme, especially with how multiple it is and how we saw snaps where we saw Blake Martinez lining up on the edge and we saw Carter Coughlin in that inside linebacker and then on the edge. Patrick Graham's scheme might be absolutely perfect for Micah Parsons.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Patrick Graham's scheme is it's not It's like you said, it's flexible. He makes it, and he wants players that are flexible. He wants players that could do multiple things, and I think Parsons is one of those players. It's why I do think he'd be a good schematic fit for the Giants. But I was actually thinking the same thing before you said it. It's great technique here. You see him dive down deep before the fullback gets there to get leverage, knowing he could blow up the block to get after the running back. It's not just pure strength. It's kind of like the last play where he used good technique to skate around the incoming blocker. It's the same thing here with the fullback. He gets down deep, sheds off the block, and gets home for the tackle.
And the thing about technique is far more translatable than just physical tools, right? Physical tools, you got to mold that into a technical player once they get to the NFL. But if he already has a technique and we know that he has the physical tools, you're talking about an year one instant impact player. And that's what Micah Parsons truly could be for whichever team drafts him.
Yeah. And here he is again in a similar role. Looks like it's hard to tell from this angle. I'm assuming, what is it, 2 linebackers here? Hard to tell from this angle. Yeah. But again, I mean, let me rewind that real quick. Again, you just see him blow up the run in the backfield here as he sheds another blocker. Looks like maybe it's a tight end trying to get to the second level. He reads the play again, like you said, Alex, on the other play. Look at his eyes. Look at his head. His head is right on the ball. He's looking to see if it's an RPO, play action, if the guy's going to take over and run with it. And tight end comes to hit him on the left side. He anticipates it, skates around it, and just blows it up in the backfield.
one thing I love, like watching him play, is his pad level. He always looks like he's ready. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys they kind of might get lackadaisical sometimes. Their pad level, they won't be ready. But look at him right now. He's in that gap. He's filling that gap right there. So if that running back tries to scoot through, he's going to meet him. But he also is so ready to bounce it outside. You know what I mean? Like he has that athleticism that if he decides, that running back decides, I'm not going to go in that gap right there, I'm going to bounce it outside. He has that quickness and agility to meet him on the outside. And you're going to see a couple plays later on, and I know Chris knows what I'm talking about. There's one play where he blows the hell out of somebody, like unreal. And I'm pretty excited to see, what comes after this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say on this play, again, I want to point to technique. Once again, you just mentioned it, low pad level. Look at his center of gravity. Look at the way that he dips underneath the block. Again, just getting that leverage and basically getting the low ground here, right? Like he can dip down and get underneath the block. He does that often, just the technique is phenomenal.
Yeah, he skates right around him, and then he blows up the play. And you're going to see a lot of that. But, yeah, I can't wait to get to the play you're talking about. It's like a WWF match. This play, again, looks like he's lined up in a similar, he's in the middle here. He's a middle linebacker here. Going up against, I think, Purdue here. So let's see what he does here. Again, I mean, it's like clockwork. It's the same thing. Here you got the tight end 87 trying to get to the second level. He's going to try to blow him up to the inside, and he skates right around him. Much like, again, it's anticipation. It's setting himself up right. He's reading the ball. There's his eyes. Now he knows what he's going to do. He sees the tight end. He faces him up, skates to the left, almost like that pass rusher move we saw in the first clip. And he just used that athleticism to go right around him and blow up the play. I mean, this is what you want to see in a linebacker, man, being able to diagnose the run.
Exactly. You actually said something really interesting. The way he sheds blocks, he almost sheds blocks like he's pass rushing, which is super, super interesting to think about, because a lot of linebackers, they'll use like pull moves, and they'll just kind of like look over the shoulder of the blocker. But look at what he does here. And he's at the second level right now, right? He's at the second level, and he's about to pull a pass rush move on this tight end. This tight end is leaning forward. His hands this guy's whole base is off. He lost this rep already, and Micah Parsons isn't going to let players that are going to commit like this and not have good blocking technique. And there's a lot of players in the NFL that are just like that. Think about Evan Ingram. Micah Parsons would have a field day against Evan Ingram in the blocking game.
I'd have a field day against Evan Ingram in the blocking game.
Exactly. So it's pretty awesome to see him pull pass rush moves off at the second level against a tight end. And then he easily, like the word you keep using, he skates around him. But I love the continuity between his legs and his hands, because they match up perfectly. He pulls this move right here, but if you see his hands, he whips those hands around, and he really just dislodges himself from that block, if he even got a hand on him in the first place. And then the perfect form to wrap him up around the waist. Like, fundamentally, Anthony, you keep hitting on the fundamentals here. That's what translates to the NFL, and those are undeniable.
Yeah, and we're seeing a consistent theme, right, with tight ends and fullbacks just not being able to block Micah Parsons. Like, you can't do it. Like a tight end. I mean, I know, as Chris just said, he'll turn into Lawrence Taylor if Evan Ingram starts trying to block Chris. Chris is just going to turn into LT all of a sudden, right? But it's the same thing for Micah Parsons. When you have a tight end come into the second level, good luck, dude. Like, Micah Parsons is going to win that block pretty much every single time. And I love here how it just becomes a one-on-one matchup with him. He just kind of lines up, squares up next to this tight end or right in front of this tight end, makes it a one-on-one, and just wins. And he's going to win one-on-one blocks far more often than not. And, one-on-one, he'll just get through tight ends, fullbacks. I don't really see them being efficient when blocking Micah Parsons in college or at the next level.
Yeah, really special talent. Let's take a look at the next play. This is against, I think this is Iowa State, it looks like. This clip looks like it's in about 280p. But here he is. Here he is as a middle linebacker there on the left. I think on this play, if I remember correctly, he comes in on a blitz.
Yeah, he's untouched here, but I love how he squeezes the gap, and he really just lowers his shoulder and right behind the guard. So the quarterback doesn't see him right here. I love how he's trying to squeeze it. The quarterback doesn't see him. He's looking off to his left side. And the second the quarterback turns his head, you see Micah Parsons coming at you that fast, you better run. And he doesn't even have enough time to react.
Yeah, he completely disrupted. And you look on this play, this is all Parsons, because he's got a wide open wide receiver here on this crossing pattern. If he has an extra second to throw, this is an easy, 10-yard gain, whatever it may be, and he completely disrupts the throw. But yeah, well designed. I think we show it twice. But yeah, well designed blitz, like you said, he's untouched. But just the speed to get there, the closing speed to get after the quarterback. That's, I think, what's most impressive here.
Yeah, and he's a former running back too, so he has that speed and that power that you want, from a linebacker. The guy has played in so many different positions over the course of his career at high school and then the college level. It truly is, he is the perfect, dynamic, versatile player that you would want in Patrick Graham's defense.
Yeah, and like you guys said, he goes in completely unblocked. There's only so much of analysis you can give on a play like this, right? So I'm not really going to throw much out there. I'll say that the running back completely misses this block in terms of his assignment. Goes to help on the edge, totally misses Micah Parsons up the middle. But I will throw out there, I agree, the closeout speed, the burst, just as soon as he, hits that gap and just turns through, it's insane. He's extremely athletic. And when we look at plays from the Giants defense this past season, and we saw plays where Blake Martinez was making a similar blitz to this exact play, we know that that's translatable where Micah Parsons could step into the Giants defense and make plays like this and disrupt passing lanes and everything in between. So, he's just exciting. He can do it all, and he's very athletic.
Yeah, it's just another play, another way to show what he could do on a football field. Here he is here, number 6 here, lined up right in front of us.
He's at 11.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's 11. Number 6 is Cam Brown, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Yeah. My mistake.
Another New York Giant.
Oh, so here he's lined up in a completely different.
Now he's playing an edge rusher role.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is the types of things you could see him potentially doing in a Patrick Graham-led defense. And again, run play. My God, this guy doesn't have a chance. Who is this guy? I think there's a tight end on the edge. He doesn't, or fullback rather. He doesn't have a chance. Again, he just turns the hips. He sees the run right away. And again, like you were saying on the first clip, Alex, stops, looks, right? You see the IQ here. You see the technique.
Read and react.
Yeah, you want to know what he's doing? There's the read, knows what he's doing. Boom, goodbye. Blows him up in the backfield.
Yeah, that's just pure football IQ, and the best part about it is that he is so confident he's going to beat this tight end. The tight end has his hands on him before Micah Parsons even makes a move. You know what I mean? Like, that's how confident he is. He's reading. See, look right here. Like, the tight end has his hands on him. He's not trying to fight through it. He just knows he's going to overpower him. He just has to fill that gap and shoot upward vertically towards the backfield. And he's going to make a play, and he does it. It's just – and they're playing bunch right there too. Like, they want to squeeze that edge. And there's no way. Like, I think the tight end probably should have tried to push him interior, but he's just too fast and too powerful.
Yeah, one thing I'll point out again, because it's a consistent theme that I've seen throughout all these clips, is a balance. Like, he has crazy balance. He has that center of gravity that's just low to the ground, and he's just always on balance. And you can try and move him, but he's just in such a firm footing that you really can't. He's just always balanced, and that's a really nice trait to see from a linebacker prospect. Yeah.
Here he is again, lined up on the outside here. This looks like maybe a 4-4. That's a different type of formation as well. But you're going to see him lined up on the outside here. And same thing. The guy's just fighting through blocks. Let's take a look at the replay. But
yeah, multiple blocks.
Yeah, multiple blocks. There's a tight end or whatever it may be there on the outside. Mm-hmm. Works around the oh, God. This guy's freaking awesome, man. That guy works around 2 blocks. It's like a pinball. He don't care. He fights through both of them, and he just devours the rusher.
That right there is like elite run stopping. Like, when we talk about elite run stopping linebackers, that is elite run stopping linebacker, because you see him, he defeats one block and then he splits the double team. They're basically, like, the NFL is a mismatched league. You want to get 2 guys on one guy, and you see him, there's 2 guys running and he splits between them, right? You'll see it. So, like, right here, he beats that one guy, and then those 2 guys are there. He goes right between them and stops the running back. That is not easy to do, and just elite athleticism and vision and being in the right place at the right time. You can't coach. Sometimes, like, coaching positioning is really hard to do, because when you're in the middle of a play, getting into the right perfect position to make a play like that, splitting double teams, some of those things, like, you just can't teach those things. Those are just instincts,
Yeah, like you said, that's not teachable. That's just learning as he plays, but just great instincts on this play, just to know, again, like we've been seeing on every play, skates around that second blocker.
Yeah, and another thing, just setting the edge, right? When you're setting the edge on an outside zone run, that's very important. If that edge doesn't get set, it's going to be a huge gain. He completely sets the edge there, and that's why when we say he can move to off-ball linebacker or edge rusher, he really can play in both positions, especially and be effective, especially in the running game.
Yeah, he looks. And this, I remember this play when I was going over the clips. This he may score a touchdown. I'm not sure, but regardless, it really shows you his ability to. You see closing speed here. You see his ability to shed blockers. You see the whole package here on a goal line play. Let me just rewind it where they have him boxed. I think at the very beginning of the clip. There he is, right there, and you're gonna see him just blow this play up. Look at that. One hand. Brings this guy down with one hand. Look at that.
Pure strength.
That is crazy. And look at the size of this hog molly, as Dave Gettleman would like to say. Trying to block him. He says, goodbye. Goes right by him. Doesn't matter. Just blows it up. And he's celebrating. This guy 73 is celebrating like he did something right. You just got embarrassed. What a play, man.
Yeah, man. That is strength you cannot teach. He grabbed him by the back of his jersey and pulls him back.
I want to say, yes, pure strength on the way he makes the tackle. But again, I just look at the technique on how he gets past this blocker. The way he just squeezes in, he just kind of slides in and then dips his shoulder and then rips the arm away. That's perfect. That's exactly how you do that as a linebacker. The dip and the rip. That was perfect. And he just blows up that guard. This is like that stuff that you don't see from a prospect. You see this from a guy who's more advanced. Like, the fact that he has the skills and the technique and the ability to do things like this already, it just shows there's so much for an NFL team to work with, so much to build on. He's really a rare talent. And so, yeah, the strength is amazing. We know that. But just, again, the technique just keeps standing out to me.
Yeah, and one last thing before we go on to the next clip. Go back to the beginning really quickly. I just want to point out one thing. His ability to communicate with the players up front. You can see him communicating with that nose tackle right in the front.
He got him to move. Yeah,
and he's touching him. He's touching him like shift this way. He's using him as leverage. That is just superior football IQ. You using what you have in front of you to create an advantage. That is something that is just, like I said, football IQ. That's knowing your blockers, knowing their weaknesses, knowing who they can exploit, and he does it to perfection. That is another thing that elite level talent, elite level prospects are able to do, is just using the tools they have at their disposal to make themselves even better.
Yeah. Here he is lined up on the outside here against Ohio State. Let's take a look how they use him on this play. Oh, God. That guy doesn't have it. Who's trying to block him here? Is that a running back?
Yep.
No chance. No chance. I'll say this on this play. That's a bad block. Like what are you doing? But again,
there's no other choice.
Yeah,
no other choice but to go for his knees.
He kind of skates around him though, like he anticipates it, right? He's trying to see maybe the quarterback's going to take it to the outside. He bends in again, the skate, and he just blows it up. That running back was done.
It's just, again, that lateral quickness. You see him plant his left foot and then just jump to the right. It's like, yeah, pretty much right where you have it paused. He's starting to plant one way and then he just bounces out the other way. It's freakish. He's just like twitchy, like the way he twitches and explodes out of his cuts. And it's just, I think that's probably where, like Alex mentioned earlier, he has a history playing running back. That's probably where this stuff comes into play, with the ability to just plant and then go. That's like a running back thing, but he's doing it as a linebacker. He's just bringing rare traits to his position that most players just don't really possess. The ability to just, sidestep like that with such ease and on such a frequent basis, as we've seen through like already 5 clips, we've seen him do this. It's pretty incredible.
It's who else was a running back was Devin White, who was a great linebacker prospect who went 5th overall to the Bucs. But yeah, it's almost like running back moves trying to evade some of these blockers. It's pretty unique. You don't see it that often.
Yeah, and for all you soccer fans out there, and I've played my whole life, if you watch Messi, the best player on the planet, the best player maybe ever, if you watch him, it's the anticipation he has with the ball at his feet and knowing he almost knows what people are going to do before they even do it. Micah Parsons knows what this running back is going to do before he even does it. And he uses that move, and he knows the exact moment to cut back and use that fake. It's just anticipation that you cannot teach. It is paired when you pair it with elite athleticism, when you pair anticipation and football IQ with elite athleticism, you get a player like this. And, like we keep mentioning, this is stuff you cannot teach. This is stuff that you are born with.
Yeah, just a great rep. And you keep seeing the same thing over and over again, but it's beautiful. Next up here, you're going to see him lined up again on the edge. There's 11. Works around a block there. That might be Wyatt Davis. I'm not sure. It looks like he forces a fumble on this play.
Yep, he does.
Let's rewind this. And again, he's reading it. Much like the first play we keep going back to. Eyes on the ball. What is he doing? What is he doing? Diagnoses it. Works around this big behemoth of a blocker. And he punches the ball out with his right hand.
And he comes up in big games. That's another big point to mention. Like, this is Ohio State. This is no Purdue. This is no, Iowa State. This is Ohio State. And he shows up in big games when it matters. And another elite prospect trait, another elite player trait. We saw a lot of guys, last year for the Giants even Leonard Williams would disappear sometimes. And you'd be like, where the hell was he? We needed him in this game. And this is just evidence that Parsons has the talent and the ability and the vision and just the mentality to dominate against big teams in big situations. And, he's always looking to get after the football. And again, like the vision, like you kept saying, Chris, he always has his eyes on the ball and he always makes the right decision when he's playing in the run.
And here's the ball. It punches the ball out.
Yeah, he punches the ball. It's an amazing play. And another thing that I'll say, or I'll just point it out once again, is just the way that he uses his lead shoulder, the way that he just leads with this and then dips down, gets underneath the block. This is something that he's done pretty much on every single play. You just see the way that right there, exactly where he paused it. Perfect. That's what you see him do all the time. He just waits. And then once he sees that lineman lunge, he just dips underneath. He does that so often. He's so good at it. And I think that's really the source of most of the big plays that he makes is from doing things just like that. Really just that dip and rip move that he uses all the time.
Yeah, it's almost like an edge rusher playing middle linebacker, like we were saying earlier. But yeah, just a great play there. Same game looks like against Ohio State here, where I think he's in the middle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. And let's just go back to the beginning again. And again, reading. And this time, he don't get fooled. Quarterback keeps it this time. I think that's the first time we saw the quarterback.
He doesn't get fooled. He does not get fooled on these options. Look, you can see him. He stands there, and whatever direction, whoever's taking that ball, he's going to get there. And you can see him, he's already leaning. Most linebackers are not reading it this quickly. He's already breaking on this ball, and he actually manages to get. And that 76 is trying to slow him down. He still managed to get Justin Fields and tackle him in the gap. It's just a reaction timing, as we keep saying. It is undeniable. It just pops off. These are the little things that add up during the course of an entire game. These stops right here, those two, they say football is a game of inches. When you have a player who stops guys like this and makes plays, they add up and they result in field goals. They result in turnover on downs. They result in punts. These are the things that you want from a player of his caliber.
And look at the other players on Penn State. Look at 28. He bit. He's like, yep, oh, nope, not him. See the reaction time? He's already leaning one way. Not Parsons. Parsons read that like a book. Great play. Love it.
It's just I just wanted to show, in these clips that I tried to put together, a lot of run stopping, because that is really aside from pass rush, that is his elite trait. His primary trait is stopping the run, and his other primary trait is rushing the passer. But this is what you're getting from a player. We didn't want to show the big flashiest all the time, those big ones, because everyone's seen those, but it's these little ones that add up over the course of a game that make a difference in winning and losing.
Well, this is what you want in a linebacker. I mean, that's a linebacker's primary objective that's going to be in the middle, being able to diagnose the run, and that's exactly what he's doing. Great play. This is the game now, I'm pretty sure, where he closed. Is this the play?
This is the Undertaker pedigree play.
Oh, God, I can't wait to watch this. All right, so here he is, number 11 here on the play. Fakes the handoff.
It might be the next one. By the way, he still gets a nice stop here. He sheds another block.
It is the next one. All right, let's go back. But yeah, not just one.
His knees taken out on this one. That looked like a dirty block. I don't know if you guys saw that.
He was asking for a flag,
waving his hand. Yeah, because that block looked a little dirty. But again, yeah, setting the edge, right? That's what we talk about. He's not even playing the edge rusher role. He's, again, playing that 4-3 outside linebacker. But he's so fast, he gets to the edge, he sets it. and he's able to really take away this lane for this running back again on an outside zone. They're trying to get to the sideline, and they just can't because Micah Parsons is there. He's just eating up blocks, eats the second one, and somehow makes a stop. It's just insane the way that he gets in position every single time.
He really does eat blocks. That's a great way to put it, because when you have a guy that can take up 1, 2, 3 blocks, it allows your other defenders to rally and make a play. Like that's the type of guy you want, just to eat up those blocks with his absurd strength.
David Mayo ain't doing that. I promise you that.
He's better off spreading mayo on freaking bread than doing that.
That's really good stuff, man. That might be his most impressive rep so far. I mean, my God. That's pretty good. This might be the clothesline play. So here he is, number 11 up the middle. This is, it looks like a design blitz, right? It looks like he's breaking right away.
Again, watch how he reads this, man. This is like primo stuff. He has his eyes locked on that ball. He sees the quarterback, he hands it off, and then he flips it to the wide receiver. And his reaction timing paired with unbelievable football IQ, he's looking right there. His eyes are there. He sees it, and then he diagnoses that the second. And that takes a lot of discipline, and vision. And he's watching the ball the whole time. And oh my goodness, I love this play so much.
See, a lot of linebackers, I would imagine, give up on this play because they're like, okay, that's not my job anymore. This guy's going to be running to the outside. He don't quit. He keeps watching the ball. And boom. Oh, my God. He looks like a shark. He looks like a shark attacking his prey. That looks like prime LT.
This is a shark
not that I'm comparing him to LT at all, but that looks like an LT clip, how he used to devour quarterbacks with his hands like that. This is a great. I mean, I can't get enough of that. We could do this for 40 minutes breaking down this play, but just to me, the most impressive thing is just not quitting, continuing to watch the ball, even though he knows it's no longer his assignment. He keeps his eyes open for the potential reverse.
Yeah.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, he never overcommits. He always stays in position, and he doesn't over-pursue. The pursuit angle here is perfect. And one thing that I'll say, Chris, you pointed out that this looked like a design blitz. It might not have been. It might just be that he read the play so quickly that he just blew it up instantly. That could be what happened. I don't really know. It does kind of look like it was a design blitz, but also I think he sees the running back starting to go one way, and he might just be getting into position to fill a gap instantly. So he might not have been blitzing. But yeah, like I said, really just with the not overcommitting, always staying in his lane and always staying true and not over pursuing. That's what we see so frequently with him, and he's so good at just staying and making the play and staying home. And this time he stays in position, and then they run that end around, and he's already in position, and that's what sets him up to make that play. And he blows it up. And I love how violent the tackle is. The tackle was just freaking awesome, dude. So violent.
It's beautiful.
The reason I thought it was a design blitz is you kind of see him start to move before the ball snap, but maybe like you said, maybe he's anticipating that it's going to be a running play. But yeah, you see him get this little head start right there. You see he's already starting to jump before the ball snapped. And then, like you said, man, it looks like Bam Bam Bigelow off the top rope. I don't know. That was the first wrestler that came to my head. But, oh, my God, man. He just devours him.
Yeah, and go back to the beginning just really quickly. I just want to point out one last thing. If you look at him, and like you mentioned before, you thought he was going to blitz this gap, but watch how quickly he diagnoses this guard shifting to his right. Watch how quickly he diagnoses that and then exploits that second gap, that second A gap. That is just unbelievable, football IQ, and knowing that guard is pulling and that the whole offensive line is going to be shifting right. So there's going to be a gap there, and he exploits that. Everything he does here has to be fundamentally perfect for him to make a play like this. This is just a cherry on top of it all, really, because it's just impressive from the get-go of him diagnosing it, getting to the backfield, reading the running back, reading the end around, and then just cherry on top, blasting him, putting him on Pluto. It's incredible.
What do you think is going through the wide receiver's head right here?
He's like, I should have committed to God a long time ago.
And then, oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, I love that play. All right, here he is lined up on the outside here, shotgun formation. Let's see what happens here. All right, I can already tell I'm gonna love this play.
He's chasing him down.
Yeah, it's almost a 40-yard dash.
This is like the sand lob with the pit ball. It's just chasing him down, man.
Okay, this play, actually, this play is nuts. The way that he just runs across the formation and makes this play. This play is actually insane. I don't know. This is really rare trait to see somebody with the athleticism to get across the formation this quickly. Because it's not like he was playing the right linebacker position. He was playing the left. He's already at a disadvantage.
He's playing the weak side.
Look at his teammate.
He's playing the weak side. They have a head start on him, and he just chases, and he just gets there. It's
Look
insane.
at 36 compared to him. 36 just gets completely blown out of this play. He's got no shot.
Flies by him.
Yeah, and it's on his side.
He outruns the guy who was supposed to be in position. It's almost like he knew, 36, no way he's getting there. Let me take care of this. He's just This is just crazy, man.
Yeah, and you talk about quarterbacks having an influence in masking deficiencies. You have a player like that. He masks an entire deficiency because 36 is now making this play. He does not have the talent to make this play. Parsons is like, you know what? You're not going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to mask your deficiency. I'm going to mask your weakness. And he just does it. That's the kind of player that makes your defense, so much better. And with Patrick Graham, man, good coaching, it would be hard to pass on him, despite everything. It's just talent
just on the field. Just on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this play again. But just on the field, this guy fits what we want to do very well.
Yes.
In my
and again, I'll point out the pursuit angle. It's perfect. He doesn't over pursue. He doesn't overcommit. Hey man, we all love that play. We'll watch that 1,000 times. But yeah, again, just the angle he takes here is perfect. He could have easily gotten underneath and outran that, but he doesn't. He just gets to the right spot. The instincts are there.
Here's the next play, same game, and now he's on the right side, obviously. And again, same thing, eyes. And he's actually, it looks like his job is to fill that gap there on the right, but now he sees and I'm guessing that 6's job is to fill that gap, just from the looks of it. And doesn't matter, blows it up. And again, it's all technique, it's all eyes, it's all patience. It's not overcommitting.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I put this clip together. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds of the Cotton Bowl game against Memphis. I'm pretty sure it ended in a wild score, 53-39. So both teams were scoring a lot. But you can just see that Parsons is so good. And he really takes over in this game. Even though they did score a lot of points, you can't, from what we've seen, and there's more to go. There's a lot more to go of what he's done. His ability to diagnose things in a big game. It's a Cotton Bowl game. It's a bowl game. It's a very important. And he shows up and he dominates and he makes big plays for his team. And that's why they ended up winning.
And here's the difference. And I'm looking at both linebackers here. It's almost like Le'Veon Bell's running skill, how he was so patient behind the line of scrimmage. Look at 6 overcommit, and look what happens to him. And look at Parsons. 6 overcommits, he gets killed.
Cam Brown.
If Parsons overcommits, he's going to get killed by this guard. But he waits for the hole to open up, and then he reacts, and he blows it up. So,
again, patience, filling gaps, linebacker traits. He is just a great linebacker prospect. He does all this stuff perfectly, and he's not even in the NFL yet. So I can't wait no matter where he goes, unless it's to a division rival, of course. I can't wait to watch him play, dude. He's just going to be fun. He's going to be exciting. And he could be one of those transcendent linebacker talents that has success for 10 years. He really has that ceiling.
This looks like a wildcat. And here's Parsons here. So this is, I'm assuming, because that didn't look like the quarterback. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure the quarterback wasn't 19 in the last clip, right? Maybe it was.
No, I think you're right. I think it was a wildcat.
Yeah, so right out of the gate, before we even watch the clip, this is a guy that has better than, he's a wide receiver or running back. This guy's got a lot of speed. So here he is here. Let's see what he does. He does a really bad job with that fake. He didn't even sell me. And then and look at Parsons just worked.
He just climbs the ladder, man. He just climbs the ladder. He's just moving. He's just mirroring the movements in the backfield, and he's just waiting. Basically, he's waiting for that guy to make a move, and then he reacts. He's so patient. That honestly, the way you put it before, he has a Le'Veon Bell-esque way about his tackling and his blocking, or rather just shedding blocks. it's so patient, and he almost reacts faster than the guy making the move, which is why he's so good. Like the guy, by the time he cuts in, Micah Parsons already read it, reacted, and got into the spot. That's like stuff, again, you can't teach this stuff.
And look at it. He goes to that hole, and he's like, oh, they're going to pop it outside. All right, I'm just going to keep going. Like you said, climb the ladder. And he just blows it up at the end of the play.
Yeah, again, patience, eye discipline, pursuit angles, like they're all there. They just keep showing up. It's not like we just picked a random few plays that we knew he did these things right on. We picked a lot of plays, and he's doing all the things right on all these plays. This is just what he does. He is this player. We're not just picking highlights.
And keep in mind, the last 4 plays we've shown are all from the same game.
The whole thing, there's a minute and 40 seconds of him dominating in one game. It's a Cotton Bowl against Memphis. Like it's the biggest game of the season for this team, and he has a minute and 40 seconds of absolute highlight reels. It's just incredible.
All right, where is he here? Is this him here alone in the middle?
Yes, I think it is.
Oh my God! Right out of hell, Mike! Look how fast he is.
Cheetah.
And he gets the running head start. Look at this. Look at ball's not snapped yet. He's timing it. He's already almost past the lineman by the time the quarterback gets the ball. Oh, a fumble too.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I love this guy. Oh, I wish he wasn't. I wish he wasn't a guy that did it.
I know. And the best thing about it is, like, in the NFL, you're going to see more mobile and more athletic quarterbacks. And, we saw a lot of times this past year that, like, our guys just weren't athletic enough. They, maybe they were young, didn't have the experience. We saw them do it against Russell Wilson. That was really the only time. But, like, against Lamar Jackson, like, it was really tough to bring him down in the backfield. He would escape them. But Micah Parsons, he's so athletic, so quick twitchy, so reactive that mobile quarterbacks can't get away from him. Like at the NFL level, he's the guy you want spying and blitzing on mobile quarterbacks because he's going to be able to take them down. He's not going to let them get away. And that's a huge benefit in the modern day NFL as teams get more athletic at the quarterback position. Having a guy that can do that and not let them escape is so beneficial. It's just, it's almost invaluable.
Jeez.
Yeah, again, when you're talking about that explosive first step, that quick burst, that you usually see from an edge prospect, you're seeing it from a linebacker prospect. He's freakish, he really will be able to line up all over the place. He has the traits of an edge rusher that makes edge rushers stand out, and he has the traits of a linebacker that make linebackers stand out. He's really just kind of a perfect combination of size, speed, strength, and technique. All of that stuff put together. Micah Parsons really is like an incredible linebacker prospect. You could see why scouts and draft analysts are so high on him, even still with these accusations. Still, there are people who are very high on him despite those things, just because there's probably people looking at it saying, look at all this stuff that he does on the field, and then look past the other stuff. Now, personally, I probably don't just look past it, but there are people who feel so strongly about the way that he plays on the field that they're still just so high on him and see him as a top 5 player in this draft.
People have done a lot worse. NFL players have done a lot worse and made it back to the league. I mean, Michael Vick made it back to the league, for God's sake. So, like,
knowing the Giants though, Laramie Tunsil smoked pot and they passed up on him for Eli.
He literally had a mask on. The guy, I thought he was doing meth like that. I was like, oh my God, the guy dropped he dropped a couple of picks. That was it, and now he's one of the best tackles in the NFL. Like, if you can learn, it's all about learning from those mistakes, though. You know what I mean? Like, it really is just about. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be in the NFL, but can he learn from that mistake? Can he mature? Can he become a better man because of this? Like, that's
well, like I said, I think that he will learn from it, because I do feel like it was a cultural problem in Penn State's locker room, and that culture is not going to exist in the next locker room that he enters. Plus, also keep in mind, he's taken a year off of football. He opted out of the 2020 season. So he's had all this time to just continue training, working on his technique, working on his strength and conditioning. And he's probably no longer in the mindset that he was in when he was in that Penn State culture. Like, he's probably outside of that now. So he's ready for a cultural reset once he gets to the NFL. That's one of the other ways that I see it. But like I said, I still look at it as a huge red flag just in terms of leadership and in terms of thinking certain things that he was doing were acceptable, but clearly were not. It's just, I do think that this is something that can be corrected, can be, teach away and out of him, and can be, fixed once he gets to the NFL.
Yeah, and like the culture aspect that you mentioned is important, because like if anyone's ever been to Penn State, if anyone's visited or even attended Penn State, like I've been there a couple times. to visit some friends. And there is a culture there. Like, it is not the healthiest culture to be around. And I will say, like, I know for a fact that it spills over into the locker room. We saw it with like the coaches a couple years ago. The big one, I forget. I don't know why.
Sandusky.
Sandusky. Like,
yeah,
that's a perfect thing to bring up though, because it's clearly obvious that Penn State is having a long-term cultural problem. When you hear this about Micah Parsons,
there after all this stuff, my God,
they have the biggest stadium.
They give you a full ride to play football.
It's hard to turn down.
Yeah,
sometimes it can be, but like, that's really it though. There's just been a long-term cultural problem, so it's kind of hard for me when people try to just pinpoint this thing on Micah Parsons. I'm like, well, yeah, he definitely had a role, but there's a much larger issue that needs more discussion. Even though I thought it got plenty of discussion with the Sandusky thing, clearly we need more discussion about the Penn State culture. Clearly something needs to change over there.
And here he is. This is where you think he fits best in a 4-3 alignment on the outside. So it looked like on this play he's going to drop back in coverage. So let's see what he does here. We finally get to see him in a different, role. And again, eyes on the ball, patience. First breaks in, but then he's like, nope, he's passed. Let me drop back in coverage. And I guess, is that another forced fumble?
I think he forced another fumble there. But another thing that I'll say, though, is coverage isn't really Micah Parsons' strength. We've talked a lot about his pass rushing and his run stuffing. That's really because that's what he does. That's what he does the best. Coverage, he wasn't put into coverage that much at Penn State. I have the stats. He was only targeted in coverage 43 times in 2019, right? So he really just wasn't, dropping back into coverage that often. So it's really not a refined part of his game, but he does have 4 forced incompletions and 28 receptions, 65% completion percentage, 5 coverage stops. These are numbers that are expected. They're not phenomenal. They're not like super incredible, 89.3 passer rating. So we're not really seeing him make plays in coverage, but he's also not being used in coverage that much because I think Penn State really just wanted to play him to his strengths. He's such a good pass rusher, so good in the running game. Just have him go do that. But of course, when he gets to the NFL, if you want to talk about things that he needs to improve on, because no prospect is perfect, we need to see him be better in coverage. We need to see him play more. He's going to play more in coverage in the NFL. Like, undoubtedly, they're not going to draft a linebacker with this athleticism and not drop him back into coverage. He's just going to have to work on that part of his game to become that complete linebacker that we all think that he can be.
Yeah, and in the bright side, that is something that you can teach. Filling zones, drop back into coverage, fundamentals and technique when it comes to playing in coverage. These are all things that can be taught. He already has the instincts, the football IQ, and the natural talent to go with it. They just have to help him, just develop in that category. But again, I highly doubt ever seeing him in coverage, maybe a couple snaps per game. But for the most part, his main goal, shut down the run, rush the passer, and just create havoc in the backfield. Because if you have a guy that can do that, this is a modern day linebacker, by the way. We see Devin White do it all the time now. Devin White with Tampa, he rushes the passer a lot. And that's not where linebacker is going at that that second position. So I'm really excited to see what he does at that level, how teams really utilize him to his strengths. Because Patrick Graham is so good at using players to their strengths. I can't imagine he would do anything different with Parsons.
Yeah, I think this is like the second or third forced fumble he had in the game. But again, it's just never giving up on the play. It's you could see he clearly gets his right hand in here and he rips the ball out. So. This is just an incredible game he had. Next up here.
Keeps going.
Playing at the middle linebacker position. And let's see what he does here at the goal line. Looks like they handed it off. Guard tries to get to the second level. I'm skating to the right. Look at the closing speed. My God. Another forced fumble, by the way.
Sideline to sideline speed. Another thing that just can't be taught.
Oh, God. This guy.
Again, the pursuit angles are always incredible. Nobody can touch him too fast. I don't know. He's just fun to watch, dude. He's special.
This is a game. These are the type of plays right here, though, that win you football games, by the way. Because this could easily be a 4th and 3. They got to score to win this game. He makes a play like this, or it's 3rd down, you force a field goal because you're scared Micah Parsons is going to make another play on the next one. Like, this is the type of play that wins you a football game, because any other linebacker, if Micah Parsons isn't there, he's reaching the edge. He's probably going to get this touchdown. like he's stopping touchdowns. He's stopping points from going on the board. Let your defense make another play on the next one. Like that's kind of why he's so exciting. Like he does these little things that end up becoming big things.
And look how patient he is, though. Like throughout the whole thing, like he still hasn't broken to the outside. He still isn't sure if the quarterback is keeping this. Do I have to go back to the right if the quarterback's going to try to run? Is it a potential pass play? He still doesn't know yet. He waits till the last second and then he bursts when he officially sees the running back has it, and then it's game over. It's unbelievable. Where is he on this play? Take a quick look.
He's up on the right, top right.
Top right corner of the screen. Yeah, there he is.
Top right corner, yep. Again in coverage. Did he pick that off? Oh,
It was close. It was close.
Oh, man.
It was incomplete, but I'll say, though, that was a really nice coverage snap. Like, he definitely, in terms of it looks like it's man coverage, I think. I got to watch one more time. Yeah, it looks like man coverage. As soon as he sees that receiver break, he breaks, and he breaks right on the ball, and he gets there, and he almost picks it off. So this was a really, really nice coverage play.
Yep, steps right in front, blows it up. Should have almost picked. It looked like he was trying to throw it away at that. Oh, no, maybe he was trying to, because he was getting hit, maybe he was trying to throw to this receiver. But either way, really good play.
I think it was intended for the guy that Parsons was covering. I just think he got hit, so the throw was not as good as it could have been. And plus, I just think that I think he saw Parsons start to break, so he hesitated on the throw, and then it came out ugly. I think he was like, oh, crap, this is going to be a pick if I throw this in there. Because Parsons, like I said, anticipated that particular play really well. And he was already breaking on the ball before it was even thrown. So he just does an excellent job on that play.
I mean, the wide receiver gives up. He basically is like, I lost this route already. The second Parsons, cuts in front of him, the receiver literally just gives up on the route. Like, that's how badly he got beat on this.
That's a really good snap. Here he is in the middle again by himself. Again, diagnosing the run. You see him dropping back a little bit, and then he sees it. Sideline to sideline. Works off a block. Guy's special.
Yeah, again, games of football, football is a game of inches. If he doesn't make this play, that's an extra 5-10 yards. That goes a long way in the NFL. Every yard counts. And he stops this. This could easily be a way bigger game.
And look at him dip the shoulder again, just to go around him. He dips the shoulder. The technique that we were talking about earlier. Watch his left shoulder. Dips it. See ya. Love this guy. Yeah. Really nice.
He knows how to protect himself from those blocks. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to get him interior. They're trying to get him in the chest and then square him off.
That's what I was saying earlier with the way that he leads with that shoulder and then just dips and rips. Like, he's so good at that already. It's something that's going to translate.
Exactly. Because if they try to get him right, like, he is the perfect guy when it comes to shedding blocks. When he dips that shoulder, he's basically asking the guard to hold him. Because the second he grabs him, that's a hold. That's a penalty. That's 10 yards. He does, like, he almost is like asking for penalties. You know what I mean? Like, that's, again, just fundamentalistic, just perfection.
Yeah, he's special. All right, let's see what we got here. He's in the middle, I think, here.
This is still the same game, by the way. This is still the same game, which is ridiculous.
Design blitz, dead. Oh, he caused the
Another fumble.
Oh, was it a fumble?
That ends up being an interception.
Yeah. Regardless, whatever it is, fumble, interception, whatever you want to call it, he causes it.
Yeah, one thing that I'll say about this play and a couple of the other turnover plays that he's created, when the Giants fans say we need a playmaker, and then they point towards the wide receivers. Your playmaker, yeah, we do need offensive playmakers, okay? I'm not saying we don't. But your playmaker can definitely be on defense. And the Giants, we have a couple guys on defense who are really good, but this guy is a playmaker who can actually put points on the board from the defensive side of the ball. That's pretty rare too. And that's really the argument that we made last year with Isaiah Simmons, right? Because we were all saying that we needed a defensive playmaker. We had our offensive guy with Saquon. Now we need our defensive guy. Micah Parsons could be that defensive playmaker for the Giants if they were to draft him.
Yeah. He's good. There's no denying it. He's really good. Where is he here? I don't even see him. Oh, he must be in coverage. Oh, okay.
He doesn't let guys get away from him. He just wraps them so easily. Like, that's something that, like, in the NFL, guys will skirt you. They will get around you. And
he's got to work on his hands. He's got to work on
He does not have good hands.
He does not have good hands.
He's got those Evan Engram hands for sure.
He does. Yeah, he definitely does not have good hands, but that's fine. We're really asking him to just, strip the ball anyway. He's had like
Yeah.
5 fumbles in this
As
game
long as
already.
he has big hands that are strong enough to pull down running backs and push over fullbacks, I'm fine,
Yeah, for sure. But again, good coverage.
Yeah, this one looks like zone. This seems like zone coverage this time, and he does a good job feeling this one out, and using his. If you see there right at the beginning, he kind of turns, looks, sees that there's a guy who's going to be breaking in, and then he just gets into position, gets perfectly in position. It should be a pick. It's also a terrible throw by the quarterback. I got to throw that out there. It's kind of a gimme. Like there's 2 windows on that slant route. He should have thrown the second window. He throws the first window. That's the window that Micah Parsons took away. But yeah, just great job shuffling, getting into position, and recognizing the play that was being ran before the route even started. Before the route even began, he knew what was coming. He got in position and made a nice play.
Yeah, I want to back that up too, and just say, like, if you back it up right there, he's been blitzing the whole time. This whole game he's been blitzing. He's barely had any coverage snaps. So they're probably thinking, he's going to blitz that B gap. I think it's a B gap right there. It might be the A gap. I have to see the beginning again, but that gap is wide open. They're probably thinking, quick throw. He's going to blitz this gap right here. That's the B gap. He's going to blitz the B gap. We'll get the ball out quickly, but he drops into zone coverage this time, and they don't anticipate it. They thought this was going to be easy throw, and the quarterback, this is a first read. This is a 1-read throw the whole time on the slant. So, that just shows you that he can diagnose these things. And like when you start to give him that ability, when you start to blitz him and he's hitting home every time, that's when you have an advantage. That's when you can drop in his zone and create a turnover. Like it's just the versatility that he has is just incredible.
Yeah, and then this last play, we just finally see him. This is just a blitz here where you see the closing speed again, fights off a blocker, it looks like, and he just buries again, the skate move. Little skate move there on the, there's the coverage play again, sorry.
You can't touch him, dude. You just can't get your hands on him.
Yeah, I got to see this blitz, this hit one more time, and then we'll close it out. But just really impressive tape by Parsons. Look at it. Yeah, it's like a pass rusher move. It's crazy, man.
There's a whole lot to like here. A whole lot to like.
There is a whole. Let me stop sharing the screen, and then we'll close this out. But yeah, wow, this was a long one. Holy hell! I didn't realize we were going that long. But I guess I talked too much. But no, I was super impressed with Micah Parsons, man. Had a lot of fun breaking it down with you guys. 3 minutes worth of clips. We talked for an hour. That's how talented this guy is and all the different things that he could do. Great off the edge, great up the middle. And a guy I'm really excited about if the New York Giants were to draft him. In the end, if I had to guess, if there's any legitimacy to these claims, I don't see the Giants drafting him. It doesn't seem like the type of guy Joe Judge would bring in. The one thing I do want to point out, he does have ties to Coach Chaos, who coached at Penn State. The Giants like to draft guys with some familiarity. So we'll see. Maybe he'll talk to Judge and say, he's a good kid, blah, 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 blah. They did sign Austin Johnson, a former player of his this year in the offseason, the defensive tackle. But, definitely an interesting prospect and a guy, if we're not going offense, say we address wide receiver in free agency, could definitely be a guy if he's there at 11 to keep your eye on if you're a New York Giant fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Gross Matos was also roped into that. I don't think he got cut, so maybe there's not as much legitimacy to it as we might have previously thought. So, and then they also have Cam Brown, and Cam Brown was in the same locker room. Cam Brown could probably vouch for Micah Parsons. Maybe he's a great guy. Like that's what he tells the coaches. Like you said, Chaos, another guy coming from Penn State. He might know more information on this. He has connects to the Penn State organization. But again, if these allegations are proven to be false, he's a top 5 pick. He's not getting to 11. There's no chance in hell. The only reason he's slipping to 11 and that we're having this discussion right now is because there's a possibility that teams buy it and they actually value this and they don't want to draft him because of that. And he does fall to 11, and where the Giants could say, he's a good kid. He made a mistake. We're going to coach him up. We're going to discipline him, and we're going to make sure he has the best freaking career he could possibly have. Because ultimately, that's what you want for players. People in college make dumb mistakes. How many times have you made a mistake in your life? Probably plenty. I know I have. These guys, as long as you're not shooting up people.
I became a Giants fan. I became a Mets fan. That was a mistake right now. They're horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's exactly right. There's so many things. Everybody makes mistakes. This obviously is a little bit more of a serious one. I mean, Domingo German, if you're a Yankees fan, think about what he did. The Yankees are about to give him another chance next season, and he beat the crap out of his girlfriend in public in front of an MLB employee, and he's getting a second chance. People get second chances. It really just depends on, do you think he deserves it? Probably. He's young. He's a kid. And the second thing is, do you think you can discipline him and make him a better person that gives back to the community and really makes it look like, it's a thing of the past. He's different now. And I think Joe Judge is the guy to do that for him. Really, someone's going to draft him. Again, somebody's going to draft Micah Parsons, whether it's the Giants or another team, no matter how far he drops. You might as well bring the best out of a player that made a mistake in the past. And again, you don't disregard it. You don't say this mistake means nothing. You don't let it slide. You have a conversation. You acknowledge this mistake. You don't just push it under the mat. You acknowledge it. You make him learn from it. You put him through, classes or whatever, sexual harassment classes, whatever it takes. But you make him a better man for it. You make him a better person that gives back to the community. Makes us proud to be Giants fans. Like, that's what this is about. Like, football is about, just aggressiveness. It's about giving people second chances. The amount of people that have come back from crazy stuff in the past in the NFL, like I can't even name them all. Drug related issues. I mean, LT was literally on cocaine half of his career.
Michael Vick. He's another
Michael
example.
Vick.
Yeah.
This is not going to stop now. So they might as well take a player with generational talent like that, make him a better man, and make him regret those mistakes, and prove to us and the whole NFL and people as a entity that he can turn it around and really benefit just community and society.
I actually agree with that take. I think that, I said these accusations are pretty ugly. They would definitely make me think twice and be a little skeptical if I were in position to draft Micah Parsons. But at the end of the day, you look at his tape, you look at his production in college, he's pretty much as close as to being a generational linebacker prospect as you can find. Even Pro Football Focus has said he's the best linebacker prospect they've ever scouted. He really is an incredible talent. And like I said earlier, I think there's just more issues than Micah Parsons doing bad things in the locker room. I think that there's just a terrible culture that's really eating away at Penn State's name and brand. And really the reputation that they once had is pretty much nil at this point. Like, they really just have a terrible culture in all of their locker rooms. It seems like there's just problem after problem. And I think that's what the bigger issue there was. I don't necessarily want to place all the blame on Micah Parsons, even though he was referred to as a ringleader of the hazing scandal. So, there's definitely red flags that come along with that problems. But at the end of the day, he is a top 5 talent. He's going to drop outside of the top 5, most likely, due to there being so much quarterback talent this year and because of these red flags. And if he does tumble all the way down to 11, me personally, even knowing the things that I think that I know, again, it's accusations, so I don't know everything, and I wasn't in the locker room. Even knowing those things, at number 11, he's just too good to pass up on, in my opinion.
He's certainly special, and he's certainly a guy that on the field, it would definitely help this New York Giants defense. There's no denying it, and the Giants will have to weigh, after they do more research on all of this, whether or not he's worth the gamble. But definitely an incredible talent. I want to say thank you guys for coming on. If you guys stuck around for the full hour and 17 minutes and 26 seconds, we appreciate it. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Go on over and subscribe to Fireside Giants. We'll be doing, I would guess, probably one of the defensive prospects that we passed up on for this video next week. We'll see.
Farley, maybe.
Yeah, I like Caleb Farley from what I've seen, so maybe we'll check him out. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give us a little thumbs up. Cheers.